Hi there, it's Bilal from IT Varsity. In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to write your first line of code in PHP and how to run it in your local browser. Now, this can get a little confusing because unlike other types of files where you can simply double-click on the file and open it up, with PHP, it's a little different, but I'm going to show you how to go about doing that. So let's get down to it. So to start off with, we go to the File menu in NetBeans and click on New Project. If you haven't got PHP selected, click on PHP in the Category section, and under Projects, click on PHP Application. We're not creating something from an existing source or from a remote server. We're developing locally. Once you got that, click on Next. You can call this project whatever you want. I'm calling it my first PHP project. And then you don't have to click Next. From here, you simply click Finish, and that's it. You're done. Your project is now created. So let's see what's happened over here. You've got a new project that was created, my first PHP project, and automatically NetBeans created two folders for you inside that project. The one folder contains your source files, so it's called source files, and inside there you can see you've been given an index.php file for free. And below that there's another folder entitled include path. It's currently empty, so when you click on the arrow next to it, you'll see it just disappears and nothing opens up. Now this is the folder in which your PHP classes will live. Now we'll talk about PHP classes a bit later. My preferred view, if you look at the top three tabs here, my preferred view is to focus on files. Now the files tab shows you just the files of your current project, and I like that. Then looking down here at the navigator, this is really quite cool because here you are seeing the structure of your HTML document here, because ultimately this is an HTML document that we are working with. Okay, so let's get cracking with some actual PHP. Now, when you look at the index file, you will see that there's a doc type declaration and then there's an HTML comment. Now these are, well, the comment is actually typically used to put in some information about copyrights, the creator, who you are, etc. But we don't need that right now, so I'm going to kill it. So we've got our HTML head, meta, title, and then we've got the body. Now, inside the body of your HTML, you'll notice this, the PHP open tag. Now the PHP open tag is an angle bracket, question mark, and the letters PHP. And the PHP close tag is question mark, close angle bracket. And as it says, put your code here. So we're going to do exactly as instructed, and we're going to put our code in there. Now the first line of code we're going to type in is the classical hello everyone. I know everybody says hello world in the coding space, but this is IT Varsity Entrepreneur. So we're going to change things around a bit and say hello everyone. Okay, what do we do next? Echo is the function to output text onto the screen. And within double curly braces, we put, well, double inverted commas, sorry, not curly braces. We put in our text followed by a semicolon. The next thing we do is to save this guy. Next, we head to our browser to run this program. Now, before we run this program, remember to make sure that your server is running. So I'm going to go and check my server. Now I'm running a Mac machine, so I'm not running WAMP as you would be doing if you were running a Windows machine. So I've got the MEMP server, which is very similar, almost identical to WAMP, except it's one of the better options for Mac, since there is no WAMP option for Mac. You can see my Apache server is running, MySQL server is running, although I don't need MySQL right now, but it's great, it's running, it's harmless, it's not consuming any major resources on my machine. Okay, I'm good here, server is running. Now how do we get to our application? Now how you get to your PHP application, remember, because PHP runs on a web server, you have to access it via the browser, and specifically via a special URL in the browser. You cannot access a PHP file. You can't run a PHP file from your file system like you would do with an HTML document. You simply double click it and it opens up in the browser. Those days are gone. You can't do that with PHP. You can do that with HTML, but not with PHP. So how do you get to your application? You'll run your application by typing its URL in the address bar of your browser. So you'll type in http:// we call that whack, localhost, and the port number. Now you need to check the port number of the instance of WAMP that's running on your machine. It could be 8888, it could be 8080, or it could just be 80. If you're having any trouble with this, you can always forward your question to your online teachers. Okay, follow this by a / and it opens up this screen which says index of /. Now inside here you can see there's two links there. The first one is a game that I've been making in the Phaser framework. We're not going to worry about that right now. And the second one, my first PHP project. So there's your project right there. When you click on the folder, automatically your Hello Everyone page opens up. Awesome stuff. So you've just made your first PHP application. Now, the great thing about PHP is that it is embedded inside of HTML. Now, this type of embedding is actually quite amazing. All right, now I'm going to show you something. What we can do is we can add some additional HTML tags. And I'm going to add an h1 open and an h1 close tag. All right, what do you think this is going to do when I refresh the browser? Let's save this and refresh the browser. And there we go. Our text is now turned into an h1. Now that's the one way of using HTML with PHP. The other way is to embed the HTML inside the PHP. So what we are doing now, what this is we're embedding PHP inside HTML. But you can also do the other thing, which is to embed HTML inside PHP. /h1. Don't forget to save it and refresh it in our browser. Now nothing's changed. The reason nothing has changed is because it's having the exact same effect. So whether the h1 is outside of the PHP tags or inside of the echo, it has the exact same effect. Now the question is, which of these is correct? The answer is simply neither. You will almost never, in the professional PHP development space, you will almost never embed HTML and PHP like this. Now, what this is actually bad practice from an MVC framework perspective. In the MVC framework, remember, you are creating a clear division between your model, view, and controller. Now, in this context, your view is your HTML and your controller is your PHP. So you need to create a separation, whereas instead here, we have them two completely joined up. They completely integrated, which is bad practice from a professional coding perspective. But nonetheless, we're going to do that later. Right now, just to get over the first few lessons of PHP, the first couple of modules to get you to understand PHP, we're going to leave things as they are. We're going to interchange between embedding PHP inside HTML and embedding HTML inside PHP as and when the need arises. So that's your first lesson for PHP done.